Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about emojis and how emojis can instantly increase the profits of your PPC ads on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of the above, including your organic clicks that you're getting from Google and Bing as well. Which is just a side note, even though this is a PPC channel still, guys. But I'm going to go over the specific strategies, though, that you need to employ with these emojis in order to get the instant double-digit increase in profits from your ads. Because if you do it wrong, you're going to actually lose money, not gain it, which will explain why here in just a moment. So with all that said, I'll get right into the content. So, as I was touching on just a bit ago, places where your emojis will get you more money. To get more specific though this time, the Facebook headlines. We're talking about organic posts as well, and more importantly, the ad headlines. You actually can do that. You can add emojis in the description section of your organic Facebook posts, as well as your ads as well. Your Google meta description, which is another way to say what shows up in your Google organic listing on Google. You know, on Google there's the paid ads, then there's organic free listings as well. If you show up in the free spot, what's showing up in the description, not the headline, you can have emojis there, and if you add an emoji there, you add a niche relevant emoji there, you can get a double-digit increase in the amount of click-through on your ad, just doing that one simple thing. It costs nothing. Ultimately, as a side note regarding that, anytime you change, if you're ranking well now, and you add anything or change your meta description, which feeds into what shows up on Google, or your title, the algorithm will have to relearn what you have, and they might go down before you go up. So don't blame me if your results go down. But a niche relevant emoji will be well worth the upside that you get once Google's algorithm, after they get through the relearning process, knows that your listing gets a higher click-through rate, and you get then forever increase in click-through rate of 20, 30, 40% more of free traffic that you just simply did not get before. You also can get, using emojis, increase in profitability in the double digits range on Instagram. You could put the emojis in both the headline and description there. Organic and paid posts again. You can get a double-digit increase in profitability from your TikTok ads, as well as your TikTok organic listings. Now, these different platforms allow different emojis. So what works on one platform won't work necessarily on another, but the general rules here apply to all the platforms that I'm going to give you. LinkedIn is the last one. LinkedIn organic as well as paid posts, again, will get you a double-digit increase in your profitability by having the emojis in your headline and description. And that works for both ads and descriptions, or excuse me, ads and organic posts as well. So all of these are great opportunities for you to earn extra money if you got any of these other things going for yourself right now. So that all said, what is the actual formula to actually use the emojis? Because the emojis is just like a hammer. You could kill somebody with a hammer, or you could build a house. You could kill yourself, which is a better analogy. Sorry, my voice is a little bit scratchy today. You don't want to kill yourself. You want to build a house and make yourself some money. But you got to know how to build the house, which I'm going to tell you how to build the house here. So here's your basic tips to be able to use the emojis as a tool for good, not bad. A single reaction after the headline in your Facebook / Instagram / TikTok / LinkedIn ads increases the CTR typically by 20%. Now, I know what you're saying. You know, you said, Corey, that you can get a double-digit increase in profits using emojis. Now you're talking about click-through rate. What the hell? Did you bait and switch me? No. And a lot of you guys know already what I'm going to say, but if you're not familiar, click-through rate increases doesn't matter where you're advertising. I don't care if you're advertising on Google search, by the way. Increases in click-through rate directly correlate with increases in profit. That's just how it is. Because every ad that you run online, you're paying for the ad space. So ultimately, you guys thinking, I'll have an ad show up, and if somebody's not interested, they won't click through, I'll show those ad networks. You know, I'll get one over on them because I can ultimately say, you must have $1 million to buy from us. So don't click if you don't have $1 million, which is stupid and idiotic. Because ultimately, the lower your click-through rate on your ad, the higher the cost per click goes for every click you're going to get through that ad. And therefore, the less you're going to make from the same ad spend by having a poor click-through rate. So your goal is to A, have your ad only show up for people that would want to hear your message, and then from there, do everything you can to get them to click through once you've already done that. Because that's going to be what is going to maximize the amount of money you can make from PPC in general. And that goes for all different ad networks. So PPC, by the way, they call it PPC because it stands for pay per click. But that whole term is a misnomer, and it's, you know, basically a bullshit front that Google started a long time ago that got all this going in the first place, because they knew people, it would hook people in if they say, oh, you only have to pay when somebody clicks on your ad. Versus what it used to be before that with like banner advertising in the 90s. You got to pay for that ad to be on that website no matter what. And people were thinking the biggest thing that held people back from buying ads then was, I don't know if somebody's going to click on my ad, so I don't know if I should buy this ad spot. They knew if they could tell you, we can guarantee someone clicks and we'll only charge you when they click, tons more people would be willing to advertise. But what they didn't tell you, and people slowly figured out over time, and still everybody don't know, which is why I'm explaining it to you, if you don't get such and such click-through rate on your ad, you're going to be paying more and more cost per click and making less and less money the poorer your ad gets in terms of click-through rate. So effectively what happens is you're paying for 1,000 times for your ad to show. Whether your ad gets clicked or not is up to you. If your ad gets clicked through 0, yes, technically these ad networks will say you don't have to pay anything. But guess what? Once you get the next click, let's say on the 1,001 time that your ad shows, it gets a click, you're going to get charged like 10 bucks for that click. Because these ad networks are not going to lose money pushing your shitty ad. They're selling that ad spot as a commodity. That commodity, you're buying that commodity from them, or you're leasing or renting it. And what you do with that ad spot dictates how much you're going to make. Are you going to get a lot of people to click through from having an ad show at that ad spot or not? It's up to you. So to wrap all this up, you're paying for ad space on these ad networks. You're trying to do everything you can to get them to click, because the more people that come to your website, the more that you can buy, unless you're like literally bait and switching them. But for the most part, and to sum this up, by the way, before I promise I'll go on after this, your goal is to have your ad show up for somebody that even if they didn't read your ad, if they click through to your website, these people would be willing to buy anyway. So at that point, when you narrow down your targeting enough to be where you can do that, your goal is to just do everything you can to get them to click through. You could say hot chicks with big boobs if you wanted to, but for the most part, even though that would be tacky and not good representation of your brand, that actually would make you more money, because that means you have more people that are qualified to buy your product, that has a need that your product could solve, that will consider buying it, reading your copy on your website. You probably will make more money. So in other words, your goal is to do whatever you can to get them to click through, because the more that click through, the more money you're going to make. Basically, bottom line, emojis is one great way to do it. So if you get your increase in click-through rate, if you get your click-through rate to go up by 20%, you could basically automatically assume your profits are going to go up by 20%, because you're getting more out of that ad space you're paying for. Get it? Got it? Good. So we can move on from that. So a single reaction after the headline, what I mean by that is, if you don't know what a reaction is, that's like a smiley, a frowny face, a puking emoji. It's like a head with a reaction on it. That's what I mean by that. The reason why I feel like this works, just thinking about this logically, is because it makes your ad look like it's posted by a person and it's an organic listing. Your goal as an advertiser always on these social networks is to make your ad look like an organic post, not an ad. Because the more you do that, the more you're going to make, because people don't like clicking through ads. They do like clicking through organic postings, because that's why they're even there in the first place. They're actively trying to avoid ads the whole time. So you're trying to blend in, looking like as much, camouflage your ad, not look like an ad, because that's going to get your click-through rate up. So having an emotion at the end of the headline, most ads don't have this. Most organic posts do have this. So anything technically that would make your post, not look like an ad would actually help you make more money. But so this is just one repeated way that we've tested time and time again that can get you an increase in click-through rate, because it makes your ad look less like an ad. Okay, got it? So number 2, you can use the fire emoji or green check on bullet point lists via the description, because that'll also increase your click-through rate on your ad by 30% or more, in addition to the first tip I gave you. What I mean by that is so the description, we found that bigger descriptions usually work better, because there's more information there and it hooks, there's more to be able to hook the user in. It's hard to get someone's attention with 1 or 2 lines. With that said, you'll get generally a better pull if you can make bullet points out of your text, because when people see a big wall of text, they're like, oh, I don't want to read all that. So when you use bullet points, it makes it less daunting to read. And then if you take that a step further and you have bullet points, specifically the fire emoji or the green check mark, sometimes one works better than the other. You have to try both, honestly. You'll actually get quite a bit more click-through rate because it looks attractive, and it just makes the whole description look that much more sexy, to me anyway. So the fire emoji or the green check mark, try them both, but one of them should be able to increase your click-through rate more than 30% if you have a bigger description, which you should already have, because that's probably going to work better than a short description. If you didn't know your description, you can write, 1,500 words if you want. So you could tell a whole story there, which we've got a separate video about short versus long descriptions on Facebook ads on this channel if you want to read that, and some interesting case studies for you to look at. So that's another way to use emojis. That's just a repeatable way. Even though there's lots of other ways to make money with emojis on your ads, this is a repeatable way to do it. I'm going to skip number 3 here for a moment. Number 4, a single niche relevant emoji in the description of your ad, if visible by default, will generally increase the CTR another 20%, or more. So when I say 20, 30, 20, these are minimum numbers, by the way. But with the niche relevant emoji, what I'm saying here for number 4, ultimately, what you have is, if you find an emoji that is tied directly to your business, like if you're selling a basketball course and you can find a basketball emoji, you use that emoji in the description so that it's visible, so that when people go to look at your ad and the small part of the description that's showing, you can show that basketball in there. That'll get users' attention, because ultimately they're scrolling down Facebook, right, or Instagram or whatever, and they're trying to decide, do I want to skip over this or not? The basketball catches their eye, and when they see something basketball related in the image, it seems more like an organic post instead of an ad. Because people that post organically a lot of times will take the time, because it does take time, to find a niche relevant emoji to put in there. So anyway, we found that works really well, but it have to be the very starting part of the description that's shown before you expand the description. And so if you could do that, we found that works better. So that just makes it look like a more of an organic post, and just is more eye-catching as a whole. But with all that said, going into the third one that I skipped here, tying all this together, you can go overboard with the emojis and it'll actually hurt the amount of money you're making, not help. So one thing that, going back to what I said multiple times here, anything you can do to make your ad look less like an ad will help make you more money from your ad spend. A lot of people with their ads, what they try to do is put all these fucking emojis in their ad, and they're really dumb for doing that because it makes, nobody does this usually that posts organically. They're not going to put 20 emojis in their post because it takes too long, right? Some people do, but that's not a typical thing. With that said, too many emojis actually hurt your CTR and therefore will hurt your profits. We found that if you basically use more than one emoji per 100 characters of text, you're going to go into negative profitability territory. So you use these emojis sparingly. I would use the 3 systems or methods for using emojis first, because these are a given that they always work. Then you can get into trying some other stuff, but just don't add too many, because we already know that doesn't work. It makes your stuff look like an ad. So, I mean, and there are some weird circumstances, like if you're selling real estate and people like looking at real estate because they're in market for a house, lots of emojis can actually potentially work better. But if you're selling a new kitchen utensil, nobody cares about your shit at all. The worst thing you can do is put 10,000 emojis in your description and your headline, because it's going to right away signal it's an ad. People are going to start skipping over it. So anyway, that's the basic information that I wanted to share with you today about emojis, some basic formulas that you can use using emojis to make some more money with your ads. So with that said, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you like the channel, I have a great blog at GaryTPPC.com/blog where I have written similar content that will show you how to make money with your ads. I've been doing PPC for 15 years, and what I'm sharing with you on this channel and on my blog is just the working strategies that we find working with a few dozen clients at any given time. And I strategize all of our clients' campaigns. So I'm actually giving you the real world working stuff that works on Facebook, Google, and stuff. So it really is the best place that you can find information on making money with PPC online. So therefore, you should damn well subscribe. We'll just keep it simple. And check out that blog if you like this channel already. That said, last thing I want to mention before I wrap this video up, if you're looking for somebody that can absolutely crush your PPC, and I mean crush it, to the point where you're making 5, 10, 20, 50 times more than you're making right now, contact our agency. We offer PPC services fully managed where we don't need any hand holding. We could look at your campaigns and tell you how much more we can make from your campaigns up front, and we can furthermore guarantee your results in that we don't get paid until you've got more out of your current campaigns. And so if you want to see how much we can do for you in regards to that, all you have to do is reach out to us and we'll give you a quote. Let you know how long, how much it's going to take. When we do get paid, what do we want on our side? But there's only one way to find out how much you're missing by not doing all the stuff that we know how to do at our agency to guarantee clients results. So if you're interested in that, definitely reach out to our firm. I'll be able to communicate with you directly. With that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you there. Peace out.